So this week we're heading back to a place we only had a chance to visit for one day last year. Where are we going, Michelle?
We are going to Crested Butte, Colorado. Unlike living in sticks and bricks, sometimes the weather does not cooperate with RV living.
And for one of the first times, we're actually going to take you on a hike and a bike of the exact same trail here in Crested Butte. And so I had to watch my football games.
After 3 years on the road, we're finally going to do a much needed upgrade to the camper.
Good frigid morning from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. As you can see, the truck lights are on, the camper is hooked up, and we are getting ready to head out to our next destination. We got a long drive today, so I think it's probably, by the time we stop and get water and stuff, it's probably going to be about 6 hours, maybe a little bit longer with getting gas too. So Michelle's just doing her final check through. We just got to bring the stairs up, and we're heading out to our next destination. So I know you'll be seeing this after the fact, but we did put out a poll this morning asking people to guess where we're going, and by placing a GPS coordinate, and the one who's closest to where we physically are at our campsite will win. I don't know what you'll win yet, but you'll win something. So yeah, the cats are in the car and they're good to go and just finishing up, and we're heading out, and we'll take you along with us today on our travel day.
The Wandering Shores have arrived to the Washington Gulch here in Crested Butte. It is breathtaking here. We're just getting parked.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings from Crested Butte, Colorado. So we got here a few days ago, and it's been a little rainy and overcast, but it is still beautiful. So today is a big day for a upgrade for the shores. So I am actually headed into Gunnison to pick up our mail from Gunnison Shipping that allows you to ship basically anything there, and it's like $2 or $3, $4, something like that per package, depending on the size. And then I'm gonna pick up some groceries, and then the big plan is this weekend I'm gonna do an upgrade that we've been thinking about for a while. We actually had a couple different plans, but I'll tell you all about that when we get to it. But we are here in the Washington Gulch dispersed camping area. So what's unique about this location is that there are actual designated campsites with numbers and maps and stuff. So you can camp for up to 14 days here, but you obviously have to stay in one of the sites. So we are in the first site here by the road. I think it's like C21 or A21, something like that. But let me show you. Sean and Lauren are right over there. You can see Aiden and Lauren over there playing. And yeah, there's like 6 or 7 sites here, and then there's some over there, and then there's some down there in that area. So we made it to our first stop here in Gunnison, and I am at the, I don't know if you can tell, but it's the Tractor Supply Company, and we are getting our propane filled. So today's Thursday. We're supposed to potentially get an inch of snow tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure we had some full tanks of propane, so I'll get them filled here. I'll get some of our standard wood pellets that we use for the litter box and sometimes for the little fire pit that we have, and then we'll go across the street. I got some donations for a local charity thrift store, and I'll just walk around in there and see if they got anything that's interesting. Well, I may have to search for the pellets because they don't have them in the place I'm used to finding them. So we'll see. So you win some, you lose some. Apparently they're out of propane. They were only charging $309, which is a pretty good deal. But he said he thinks the Ace will refill it, or maybe Napa, or maybe one of the gas stations down the street. So I'm gonna have to check there, but I was able to find my pellets. They were outside, and was also able to get my other hardware that I need for the other project I'm gonna be working on for the slide. So on to the next stop. So as you probably saw, one of the projects came in that big rectangular box. That's right, we're going to be upgrading our solar array on the roof. I'll get more into it on Sunday when I start to do the install as to what we chose to do, why we chose to do it, why we went a different route than we were originally thinking. And but yeah, so now I'm gonna have to go hunt and see if I can find some propane. Fingers crossed with how cold it's gonna be over the next week that I'm able to fill this tank. Shout out to Napa Auto Parts here in Gunnison, Colorado. They had propane. I mentioned to him that they'd probably be busy because Tractor Supply was out. He says they're out all summer long. He says, I don't think they have a big enough tank or whatever, but he says it's very common. So it was 90 cents more per gallon, which, you know, $3.99, it's not horrible, it's not the best, but they had it so we can stay warm. And, you know, you butter the bread, I guess, if you will. And I said, oh, do you happen to know where there's a public dumpster I could throw out a bag of trash? He says, well, how big? And I said, oh, just, you know, a standard kitchen garbage can size. And he says, oh, just throw it back in our dumpster. So double, 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 you know, you win some, you lose some. This time I won double. Got propane and was able to find somebody to let me throw trash out. The spot I had thrown it out last year, all of those trash dumpsters are locked now with signs on it saying they're private. They're in an alley behind the library. And we used that last year when we were here and staying at Hartman Rocks. So I'm gonna try to find some gas, and then I should be able to go get my groceries here pretty soon over at City Market. Successful pickup here at City Market. I got all my groceries. They pretty much had everything in stock. There was just like one thing they didn't have, so that's all good. It was breakfast sausage, and we got a ton of that anyway. One thing that, you know, a new recent challenge that we've been facing, and it's interesting because Sean and Lauren have been facing it as well, is that when we try to order from a Kroger affiliate, so City Market, King Super, Kroger, or whatever, when we're out of state, I guess, it's just started happening this month, we keep getting an error code on the pickup order, and it won't let us place a pickup order. So this happened to us when we were in Steamboat Springs. I called and asked them, hey, you know, there's a number and it says here's the error code, call this number. So I did. She said, oh, it's because your billing address for your credit card is outside of Colorado, so there's a protection built into the system there at Steamboat that prevents you from ordering if you're from out of state. I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I had that same error code again happen when I tried to order from this one, and I thought, oh, here we go again. So I called and acted dumb, like I didn't know why it was happening. And this lady said, oh, you know, just let me check on it for a minute, and I'll get back to you. So she came back on the help desk phone number, you know, like 2 minutes, and said, okay, I cleared it. Go ahead and try to submit it again. And it worked. So I don't know what was going on. Clearly, when you call this number that they give you at the bottom of the denial, one of the two options is, if you're getting an error code when you try to order pickup, hit number 2 or whatever it says. So obviously this is happening a ton, so I don't know what's going on with their system. And I've told them, listen, we travel, like I'm going to be in every state imaginable, you know, regardless of where my credit card number is. And so we'll see. Same thing happened with PetSmart. I ordered like $100 worth of stuff from PetSmart, and then I get an email about an hour later saying it was canceled. And so I called them, and they said, oh, it's because your billing number or your billing address is in Ohio and you're trying to order in Colorado. And I said, are people not allowed to travel and order stuff from Petco or PetSmart? So what I ended up doing is I talked to the supervisor of the call center, and she made a note on my account. But then when I went back in, I paid, instead of paying with credit card, I paid with PayPal in hopes that they wouldn't somehow connect. But either way, it went through then. So if you're having that trouble, you may want to try using PayPal to make a purchase if your card is getting denied and you're out of state. I know you won't believe this, but we actually have a beautiful sunny day. Temperatures probably in the high 50s, maybe low 60s. So for the last 3 days we have been trapped inside. It's been dreary, raining all day. It hailed or sleeted one day. It's been like high yesterday was like 46 degrees. So today we've got a beautiful day. I've given the roof a little bit of time to dry, and I'm going to hopefully get this project done here fairly quickly. Knock on wood, we don't run into any obstacles. But I am going to be installing 200 watts of new solar to bring our grand total to 800. So let me give you a quick rundown on why we're doing this. So for about the last month, I've been researching upgrading our battery bank. I was going to go from 340 amp hours to 600 amp hours. And the battery pricing I was looking at were two 300 amp hour batteries that would fit in the same spot where my current batteries are. And it was going to run probably around, after tax and everything, about $2,000. So I decided I'm going to look up on the roof. I have a non-walkable roof, so I can't really use the space up there for storage or anything. And I've got some open space, so I thought, well, let's see what we can do with adding some more solar. That's a much cheaper route to go. See if we can then bump up our input from the solar on a day-to-day basis, which will hopefully help compensate for the extra draw that we're getting from our residential refrigerator. So that's the plan. I wanted to add 1,000, but our solar charge controller maxes out at 800. So if I end up at some point wanting to add an additional 200 to bring us to 1,000 watts of solar, then I'll have to get an additional solar charge controller and run that one down separate. And maybe I'll split the solar array at that point. You know, the front will be on one solar charge controller and the back will be on another. But for now, we're going to see how 800 does, and hopefully we don't really have to run any wires. We just got to put the current panels in series with the new ones, and then hopefully we'll see an improvement, and then I'll just have to mount them to the roof. So we'll take you along as we do this project. All right, so Murphy's Law. I put the solar panel up here. Let me take you up there and show you. And while I'm up there, I'm going to show you one of the other issues. So I put this panel up here. I didn't mount it yet because I want to make sure I test everything before I screw it in. But as you can see, it's a different size. Even though I used the link that I had in my Amazon cart from my old ones and purchased the same ones, but they sent me, I mean, the numbers on the back, the voltage and the amps are the same, but the size is completely different. These are much smaller. Maybe they've redesigned them or something, but when I put this one in and I covered it up and I put it in series and I covered it up, I was getting a total of 470 right now off of the roof. I uncovered this one and it still said 470, so it's almost like this one's not putting out anything, even though I tested it when it was down on the ground and it was shooting like 26 volts. So I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna go and set the other one in series over there before I screw anything down, but I want to make sure it's working correctly. But right now it's not showing any change, so I don't know what that's about. I'm back and I got my helper down there.
Hello.
So once I connected the other panel, then the whole system was registering correctly, because if I put a shade on this one, it was killing the power from these three, or these four now. So yeah, it's working right. Now I'm just working on mounting them, trying to find the support stud if I can, to at least get one of the screws into it. But it's coming along, and we're gonna be happy, I think, with some additional solar. We'll be back. Good afternoon.
Hello.
We did it, everyone. We got out on the trail. So we've been trapped in the camper for most of the week with really cold, rainy, cloudy, windy conditions. But
it's finally nice.
Yeah, so we're doing something we don't typically do, and that is start a hike at like 2:30 in the afternoon. But it is Sunday, and so I had to watch my football games. Shout out to the Seahawks. Huge victory in Detroit. Shout out to the Colts. Big victory in Houston. Now we just need the Browns to beat up on the Schittsburg Steelers on Monday night. So you're going down, James. You're going down. All right. So we are doing Painter Boy Columbine something loop.
It's a long name.
Yeah, it's got. I'm assuming it's a bunch of trail systems that are out here that they've put together as one loop. It's only about 4 miles, and the elevation gain's about 500. So it's really one of the flatter trails that are here. And boy, maybe we'll show you a few of the houses as we drove up to the trailhead.
They were beautiful and so big.
Yeah. When you come from living in 200 square feet to seeing some of these mansions that are just gorgeous, it's pretty impressive. So
very impressive.
But yeah, so Sean and Lauren were not able to come on the hike today. Their parents are actually coming in for a visit. They're going to be staying at a campground down in Crested Butte, so they arrive here shortly, and so they're going to go and visit with them tonight, and didn't have time to make it out on the trail. So we'll let you know what we think about this trail. That's kind of cool. I don't know where it would have fallen from. I don't see a hive or anything up in the tree. So just a honeycomb with a few bees still left in it. Okay, good start. Apparently we weren't supposed to be walking down that road, and the trail actually is off on the horizon. So we're now bushwhacking to go find our way. This, you folks, is not the trail.
Just want to say thanks to everybody for giving us some ideas on what we can do for some episodes on our YouTube channel. Sounds like a lot of you are very interested in our setup and teardown in detail. And you're also interested in how we care for the cats, their litter box, and just how they became acquainted with our RV. And some of you are even interested in some cooking ideas, which I will do my best, but I'm not the greatest cook of all. And I like to keep things simple, and I'm a creature of habit. So a lot of the times I eat the same thing day after day, but I will do my best. But thank you for those ideas. They have been very, very helpful to us. So be on the lookout for some upcoming videos. I also want to mention that the other day I was wearing my tennis shoes, and I thought, man, my tennis shoes feel like they're way too small. And sure enough, I had Kyle feel where my toes came at the end of my shoes, and sure enough, my toes were at the end, and I thought, well, my feet shouldn't be growing. I mean, I know I'm 50, but so I told my mom about it. my mom said, well, that happens when you get older. Your feet kind of flatten out. So, okay, I guess. But the good thing is I'm going to get a new pair of tennis shoes.
One of the things we're doing here as we hike this trail today is we're assessing for a potential bike ride on it as well. It's a multi-use trail. There's actually way more mountain bikers on here than hikers, but it's right adjacent to the Crested Butte bike park. I don't know if you can see, but the ski lifts are going up and down because it's a weekend. I don't know if they're closed for the season during the week, so I'm going to take a look at that when we get home. But I may do another downhill adventure like I did when we were over in Greer, but I want to see exactly when they're open, and if they're open during the week, that'd be fantastic. If not, then maybe I'll have to do it next weekend, but we'll see. But yeah, we're definitely going to ride this trail on our mountain bikes because it's fairly easy. It's considered a green circle and a blue square, so beginner, intermediate. Word to the wise. You get down to the bike park and everything's uphill from there. So
yeah, we're struggling. We're on the struggle bus. Somebody come pick us up.
We got down to kind of the bottom of the trail, if you will, and looked at my watch, and it said, okay, now you can start the hike back up. All 500 feet are basically at the end. So This section of the hike is brought to you by Huffin' and Puffin'. You're puffing.
Right, I'm puffing.
So yeah, we're just walking up this double wide old road here. We made it to the top of that that climb, and it's interesting now because now we're hiking in the pine trees and not the aspen trees. So this part of the trail, found out, is called Primer. So again, it's Painter Boy to Columbine to uphill to Primer, and then hopefully back to the camp, or back to the truck. But yeah, this is change the scenery quite a bit, and it's kind of downhill, but it looks like we got a little bit of uphill here left, but not too bad. Sure is peaceful back here. All right, folks, we are back at Painter Boy. We're just getting ready to hit the trail again, but this time, as you can see, with our bikes.
That's right.
So hopefully this will go as smoothly as our hike did. It's mostly downhill for the first 3 miles or so, and then the last 1.5 miles or so is all uphill.
All uphill.
So we'll take you along and show you what the trail looks like from the bikes.
Kyle on we got 3/4 of a mile uphill to the end of the trail. So he's doing good. But this isn't the end. We've got a little bit more left. Around this corner, up another hill, and then we'll be there. Just luck.
We got finished with the trail. What'd you think, Michelle?
It was good. It was helpful, at least to me. I know we can't do this every time, but I really liked being familiar with it since we hiked it the first time, and then the second time we biked it. I liked that a lot. Yeah,
I liked knowing what to expect. So hope you enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to check back next week when I take you on what is the epic mountain biking trail here in Crested Butte. Michelle, what should they do?
We would like for you to hit the like button.
She's very polite and proper. Give us
a thumbs up and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, and leave a comment too. It just lets YouTube know that you like our content.
See you next week, everyone.